And so I was coaching a client, and this client was really successful. I mean, they had a $1.3 million business doing pretty well. That was what they're grossing, but they were netting about 50 grand. So that's a huge disparity. I don't know if we're all good at, at math here, but
Math,
that's a
yeah.
huge number discrepancy here. And so they brought me in and they're like, we'd like help with this. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I went out they're in Utah. So I flew out to Utah and I was talking to them about it. We're sitting down one day and I'm like, okay, explain to me what everybody does in the business. And there's three of them. And they're like, oh, we do everything. And I'm like, well, that's the best way to wreck a business because you can't do everything. I said, so tell me what your strength is. What do you consider like your primary? And they told me what their primary was. And I said, okay. And then they were big nerds. Like one of them used to work at Blizzard and the other one's a dragon themed person, whatever. And so I'm like, how about this? Tomorrow I'm going to come back and we're going to play, I don't know, Dungeons and Dragons Business Edition. And where instead of having like a ranger and a wizard, you're going to have the marketing person, you're going to have the artist, and you're going to have, the accounting person. That's
I
their jobs in
love
the
that.
business. And I came back and we played for about 4 hours. And as I'm talking through it, and we're going through complicated business information that really went over their heads, and they've been in business for a while. They had a business manager that really wasn't helping the business because they didn't understand what the guy was doing. He was stealing money, but they didn't know. And so I was talking through it. And as we're covering basics of business, but doing it in a gaming theme, like the light bulbs are just going off. And I can see it in their eyes. They're like, oh, this makes so much sense now. And I'm like, yeah, it's not hard. It's just, they weren't speaking the language of business. They were speaking the language of gaming. And I got done with that day and I was like, here's the idea. This is the key because we all game. Especially kids these days, we all start we're born with an iPad or an iPhone in our hand, and we're gaming since then. That's what we do in our downtime. And if we understand how to go from level 1 to level 10 in a game, you can do the exact same thing in your business. It's all about leveling up. And the other bonus to this is that we play games, we scroll on our phones, we do all that stuff for the dopamine kick that we get, and my sons, I got 3 boys, they're all gamers. They're 100%, they're 100%ers, they're completionists. And I'm like, if you guys would apply 60% of that into your business, you guys would be infinitely successful. And I'm like, that's in the book. I'm like, get off the device and then start applying those same rules to you. You can get the same dopamine kick from a swipe that you get from swiping and from gaming from your actual business. And you just have to frame it correctly. And so the book actually breaks down how to create quests, character sheets. We talk about the monsters you encounter in the business world. We talk about all these different things, but we talk about it in a language that is accessible to creative minded people. I'm not a linear thinker. I can pretty much guarantee you're not a linear thinker,
Nope.
but we crammed ourselves
Yeah.
to think that way because we know that's what we have to do to be successful. So it's like, well, how do we appeal to somebody who's a cloud thinker? That's what I like to think of creatives as, because we're not going this direction. We're like here, now we're here, now we're here, we're never here. So that's just how we
Yeah.
think.
It's just the
So I'm
nature.
like, how do
Yeah.
we, it is absolutely. So I'm like, how do we grab that and excite people about it? The book is also written for people with ADHD. My son has ADHD. And so I know that if I say, fill out this workbook, my son would get about 2 pages into it and he's like, I'm done. So this one has fill in the blank. It's got bubbles. It's got all these different things that just keep your mind constantly wandering around, which is good because then you're doing the work, which is the idea. Now, what I don't tell people, because it's the secret, and so I'm going to tell you, just you and all your
Just me.
listeners,
Thanks.
that when you finish, there's a workbook that goes with it. So this book here is the Creative Guide to Business. That's the book, and inside of it has a bunch of fill in the blanks, but there's a workbook that goes with it you can actually fill in. It's a complement to this one, so you're not drawing in your actual book. When you finish this, you actually have a completed business plan. I don't like to tell people that because they're like, I don't want to make a business plan. But I'm like, no, why don't you go on this adventure, play this game? You get done, you've got it. You've got a 90-day plan of action to start making real, honest to goodness money right off the bat. That's what this book does. But it tricks you, I guess, into thinking it's a game. But by the time you get through it, you're like, it is a game. Business is a game. I'm having fun. And isn't that the point?